Sometimes it's not what someone says, it's how they react. And right now, Mika Abdalla's reaction to everything going on around Offcampus is the thing everyone's dissecting frame by frame. On the surface, it looks like nothing, just a normal moment. But fans have been going back over the footage, and the more they look, the more they think there's something underneath it that wasn't meant to be noticed so easily. Let's set this up properly. Mika has always been one of the more composed personalities in the cast, someone who doesn't usually give away much, which honestly makes her one of the harder people to read compared to some of her more expressive castmates. That composure is actually part of why this particular moment stood out so much. When someone who's usually that controlled has even a flicker of a different reaction, people notice immediately because it's rare enough to actually mean something. So what exactly happened? During a recent moment that's been circulating online, cameras caught Mika's face for just a couple of seconds reacting to something happening around her, and that brief window has become the center of an entire wave of theories. Some fans think it was a flash of genuine surprise, like she wasn't expecting whatever just occurred. Others think it was closer to frustration, quickly masked before anyone could clock it. And a smaller group thinks people are simply reading way too much into a completely normal, neutral expression, which, to be fair, is always a possibility with these things. But here's why it's not that simple to dismiss. This isn't happening in a vacuum. It's happening at a moment where there's already been tension bubbling under the surface involving multiple cast members. Tension that hasn't been directly addressed, but that plenty of viewers have picked up on through smaller cues over the past few weeks. So when a normally unreadable person suddenly gives even the smallest crack in that composure, people connect it to everything else they've already been noticing. And suddenly, 1-2-second clip becomes part of a much bigger picture. What makes this even more interesting is that Mika hasn't said anything about it publicly. No addressing it, no joking it off, nothing. And with someone who's usually pretty responsive to fan chatter, that silence is arguably just as telling as the reaction itself. It leaves the door wide open for interpretation, and right now, fans are walking straight through that door with every theory imaginable. There's also the question of what this means for how she's perceived going forward. Mika has built a reputation as the calm, composed one, the person who doesn't get pulled into unnecessary drama. If this moment turns out to be a crack in that image, even a small one, it could shift how people expect her to behave moving forward, especially if similar moments start happening more frequently. One moment might be nothing, a pattern would be something else entirely. For now, all we have is speculation, frame-by-frame breakdowns, and a fan base that clearly isn't going to let this go anytime soon. Whether it turns out to be genuinely meaningful or just an overanalyzed 2 seconds of footage, it's clearly struck a nerve, and that alone says something about how closely people are watching every single detail of this cast right now. We'll keep tracking this one closely and let you know if anything more concrete comes out.
Offcampus, where do Dean and Allie stand after that Hunter twist? Stephen Kalin says, "Good day, hockey romance fanatics, and consider this your official spoiler warning, because if you have not finished the Offcampus Season 1 finale yet, you might want to pause right here before we blow the entire thing wide open." That finale delivered a twist so shocking it left both book readers and newcomers absolutely reeling. And now star Stephen Kalin is finally breaking his silence on exactly where his character actually stands after everything came crashing down. Stick around, because we are unpacking the confession, the betrayal, and the hockey rivalry nobody saw coming. Quick favor, if you are loving this, hit that subscribe button and smash the notification bell to keep getting the latest updates on all things celebrity and entertainment. Thanks. Now, back to the show. Let us set the scene properly, because this finale did not simply end on a cliffhanger, it detonated one. Just as Dean finally works up the courage to admit he wants a real relationship with Allie, rather than continuing their secret hookup arrangement, Allie drops a bombshell of her own, revealing she slept with a mysterious stranger during their brief break. In her defense, this was technically part of an assignment the two of them agreed to as a way of proving they could still see other people casually. It is a bit like agreeing with your study partner to explore other tutoring options, only to discover your partner suddenly wants an exclusive arrangement the exact same day you sign up for someone else's class. Sure, the timing feels almost cruelly ironic, but nobody can accuse either character of technically breaking the rules. But here is where the plot absolutely detonates, because that mysterious stranger Ali hooked up with was not actually some random guy from a bar. He turns out to be Hunter Davenport, a rising Briar hockey star with a deep, still unexplained rivalry against Dean, one that somehow involves Dean's own sister. Even more shocking, this entire storyline represents a massive departure from Elle Kennedy's original book series, where Hunter is actually portrayed as someone Dean mentors rather than despises. Showrunner Louisa Levy openly admitted this twist was designed specifically to catch even devoted book readers completely off guard, and judging by the online reaction, mission thoroughly accomplished. It is a bit like watching your favorite sitcom suddenly reveal two beloved characters have secretly been rivals the entire time. The shock value alone practically guarantees everyone comes back for the next episode. So how exactly does Dean process discovering that the woman he just confessed real feelings for hooked up with his sworn enemy? According to Kalen himself, the answer is refreshingly blunt, describing the current state of Dean and Allie's relationship simply as not good. He went on to explain that in this particular moment, Dean's instinct will be to completely shut down, essentially burying whatever vulnerable feelings he just revealed and pushing forward as though nothing happened, largely because, in Kalen's own words, Dean is feeling thoroughly hurt in that moment. It is a bit like finally working up the nerve to send someone a heartfelt message, only to immediately regret it and pretend you never hit send the second things get awkward. Except Dean's version of pretending involves an entire hockey rivalry and a locker room full of witnesses. Interestingly, co-star Mika Abdalla actually views this chaotic twist as a genuinely positive storytelling choice rather than simply manufactured drama for shock value. She has explained that since Allie and Dean's relationship arrives far earlier in the show's timeline compared to the books, where their romance does not actually kick off until the third novel, introducing this kind of complication felt necessary to properly slow their whirlwind connection down. It is a bit like a couple moving in together after only a few weeks of dating. Sometimes a good relationship needs an unexpected speed bump just to make sure both people are actually ready for what comes next, rather than simply swept up in the initial rush of chemistry. Adding even more fuel to this already blazing fire, actor Charlie Evans, who plays Hunter, revealed he successfully kept his character's true identity a secret for an entire year of promotion, teasing fans with an entirely fake character name before the truth finally dropped in those final, jaw-dropping seconds. Evans has also hinted that Hunter's rivalry with Dean runs far deeper than simple hockey competition, promising fans plenty more tension both on and off the ice as Season 2 unfolds. So, where does this leave our once promising couple heading into next season? If Kalen's comments are anything to go by, expect plenty of emotional walls, wounded pride, and simmering hockey rink tension before Dean and Allie find their way back to each other, assuming they even do. One thing is certain, with Hunter now officially added to the equation, Briar University's ice just got a whole lot more complicated. Thanks so much for watching, and we will catch you in the next one.